Hello, everyone. Today we will be discussing the infant microbiome and the different implications that go within it. So, first, we need to understand what is the microbiome. And the microbiome is a variety of bacteria that live within a human or animal or whatever, and that make up the microbiome. So, it's different pathogens in a certain area. For example, we could talk about the gut microbiome and the different bacteria that reside in the gut, or the vaginal microbiome that help the health of vagina, for example. So the microbiome can dictate how well we respond to infection and even predict our future health. And an example, so this goes in talking about the adaptive immunity and the innate immunity, and how the microbiome can play a role in our immune system. And the most important aspect of talking about the microbiome is probiotics and how it can enrich to make a stronger microbiome. Now, factors that are impacting the infant microbiome, there's a variety of them, and it could change the way the microbiome acts for good or for bad, and could help our health, or as stated before, our immune system. So there are different types of factors that go into the infant microbiome, and the first is the mode of delivery. So that's talking about the C-section versus vaginal delivery. And the vaginal delivery is direct transfer of microbiota from the vaginal maternal microbiome to the infant microbiome, and that way will provide the most, for example, the most amount of lactobacilli being transferred from the maternal to the infant. And so for C-section, that could be disrupted from the mother to the newborn transmission of bacteria, which can lead to an increase in asthma, disease such as celiac, diabetes, or even obesity. And then there's genetics, so predisposed conditions that the mother has that could be transferred towards the newborn. So, for example, diseases that are in the genes, or hereditary diseases such as Alzheimer's, which could lead to future. And then there are perinatal antibiotics that could disrupt the microbial exchange from the mother to the infant. And by using perinatal diseases, it could lower the bacterial diversity that the infant microbiome could have. And then there's breastfed versus formula feeding. And obviously breastfed has the most amount of microbiota transfer from the mother to the newborn. And it contains all kinds of benefits that we'll explain later in the slide. But for those who have formula feeding, it was found that the immune system could be compromised or change in function, and even affect metabolism later on in life. So we will discuss why breastfed milk is so important. Breastfed milk has nutritional components such as micronutrients, proteins, fats, and in those micronutrients contain, like I just said, carbohydrates, protein, fats, and carbohydrates in the form of lactose, which is the most important nutrient and abundant in breast milk. And it also contains HMOs, or more scientific term, oligosaccharides, to help the growth of probiotics. And obviously that helps with intestinal processes of eating and whatnot. It contains protein to help the infant grow, such as whey and casein. And there's a higher concentration of protein in breastfed milk compared to formula milk. And breastfed milk can even contain important proteins such as lactoferrin, lysozymes, or LGA, as we have discussed those important factors in immune system. And then there's also minerals and fats. So other insulin-like growth factors like IGF-1 or IGF-2, and could help in protecting damage against oxidative stress. It contains a variety of microorganisms of microbial communities. So as stated before, it contains lactobacilli, streptococcus, staphylococcus, and propionibacterium. and even microRNAs that help construct infant immune system through the intestine. So the long-term effects, infants that weren't, that were through C-section could have an increase in asthma, and that can even go higher if they were formula fed. So there have been seen that in a case study, infants who were strictly breastfed formula milk, fed formula milk compared to those infants that were breastfed, had a higher chance of producing allergies, or even, as stated before, celiac disease and obesity and diabetes. So even infant milk, formula milk does not have the components it needs to boost the immunity, and there's a bunch of components that have to go formula milk with the temperature, and it has to be the perfect type. Like, it needs a certain amount of nutrients to give the baby, whereas breastfed milk obviously has the components it needs for that. And as stated before, human milk has multiple immune factors that help decrease certain diseases later on in life, which is why we see asthma higher in those who were delivered through C-section and were fed formula milk. And we're only starting to understand the implications of this. For example, human milk has immune factors such as cytokines and, as stated before, oligosaccharides that help the gut microbiome. And there's a lot of reasons why we have seen an increase in these diseases such as celiac, diabetes, asthma, and this is a start, or definitely a reason why this has happened, and we're only starting to understand the premises of this. So because of all this is the reason why infant microbiome and the mode of delivery is so important for an infant to have a good microbiome for future health.